Good morning, students. Good morning, all the viewers. This is Muhammad Riazuddin, Principal Telangana Model School, Jarasangam, Sangareddy District. Now we have the webinar session on commerce. The topic is Financial Markets, Session 2, handled by Mr. Venkatrama Rao sir. Mr. Venkatrama Rao sir is presently working as a PGT in Commerce at TSMS Narsapur, Medak District. Previously, he worked as a faculty in commerce in VIP College, Vizag, also in INS College, Hyderabad, and also worked as an assistant manager in Deloitte Tax Services India Private Limited. Overall, Ramarao sir has a experience of 15 years in teaching commerce. Students, please listen the session carefully and make the important points. Now, I invite Mr. Ramarao sir to deliver his lecture on financial markets, session 2. Now, over to Ramarao sir.
Thank you, sir. A very good morning to all the respected principal ma'ams, sirs, and my dear students. So yesterday we had a session 1 where we discussed capital markets, okay, as part of our financial markets, and I told you that we'll be focusing on money markets in this session, okay. So financial markets are like our blood, right? You all know me. Already sir has introduced. Here is a small activity from me, okay. You have heard of, you listened to my class yesterday. I know that you were very actively participating, and I'm very happy about that. Many students, they were responding and they were very nice, like they were answering me whatever the questions I asked. So here is a small activity for you guys, just to recollect whatever the things we have discussed yesterday, okay. So let us just take 30 seconds to do this, okay. So here is my first question. Type it in your chat box. Everyone must participate. Okay. Interact with. Everyone should participate. The, the provision of money at the time it is wanted is called as. Just type your answer very quick. Okay. We'll go on. 10 seconds. What do you call the provision of money at the time it is wanted? Okay. Type your answer. Everyone. Okay. Now the second one. The markets in which financial assets are created and transferred are known as, you all know it, right? Yesterday we were discussing at length about this topic. Now I want you to answer this. What do you call that? Again, the markets in which your financial assets are created and transferred. Type the answer. Okay. Did you get it, everyone? Okay. I'll move to the third one. Now here is a question, specific question. Okay. In which market long-term finance is provided to business firms through sale of securities? Very easy, right? Type the answer. Shall we move on? Okay. Did you all type those three answers? The provision of money at the time it is wanted. Okay. Markets where your financial assets are created. Just type it 1, 2, 3. Or you can simply type the answers, all the three. Okay. We know what it is all about. Okay. We move on. So what we have learned so far, we have discussed about the meaning and concept of financial markets, okay, what financial markets are all about. And in previous activity I was asking about this, so you should be in a position to understand and also respond to that activity. And we have seen what is the classification of our financial market, where we have seen that financial markets are further classified into capital markets and money markets, okay. And when we talked about capital markets, we talked about the primary market and secondary markets, okay. That is the classification of our capital market. Next we talked about the difference between the primary market and the secondary market, okay. And we have also seen what are the functions of capital market. Just to recollect things, we know capital market, they are classified into primary market and secondary market. And primary market, you are able to, your companies are able to raise the capital fresh, okay. That means You are asking investors directly to invest in your company. Whatever the capital you wanted, you are doing that, right? You are asking them to invest. And I gave you an example of buying a car in a showroom directly. And then I talked about buying a car in second hand, which is called a secondary market. And you all have to remember that the secondary market, when we are talking about, it is about the stock exchange. Okay, am I clear? And then we talked about functions of capital market. Whatever capital market is doing, basic things. Okay, very important, because they are the blood of our economy. They are the blood of our financial system. What are they doing? What they are providing us? They are providing us finance. How? They are channelizing them from savings to investments. Okay, that means wherever the deficit areas are there, from that point to where it is really required for production, manufacturing, and other purposes. That is how our function of capital market is functioning, right? Okay. Yesterday, I was talking about methods of issuing new stock, okay, as part of our capital markets, and I was rushing through in the sense I was going with a little pace, and some of you have asked me to repeat this concept. So for you guys, I'm just trying to recollect what we have talked about what we have talked about yesterday, like in the yesterday session, okay. So I said, whatever the new securities we already remember, right? What are they? Your shares, debentures, bonds, and all. So I said, when a company is going for issue of new shares or, or new securities, what it does when it is asking public to invest in their company, it gives a big advertisement in newspapers, magazines, okay, and it says, here is our company, please invest, either in the form of shares or in the form of debentures. So that invitation, we call it as prospectus. It's a circular. We have learned about this in first year. So this is one of the methods. So what I need to understand is, when the company is going for new issue of shares, okay, what it does, it gives an advertisement in newspapers, saying that our company wants capital. Please provide us capital. So if I want to buy the shares of the company, what I will do, I will apply. I will pay the money. Okay. Then what I will become, if my shares are allotted, then I will become a shareholder of that company. So how is this happening? Raising of capital, okay, or the issue of new shares, how it is happening? It is being offered through the prospectus. Simple terms, it is just a circular, okay, asking people to invest in their company. And most importantly, who can go for this? Which type of companies can go for raising of monies, like share investment and all those things? Which companies can do that? Only public sector companies can do that. Okay, public companies, public limited companies, not public sector companies, public limited companies. Okay, private limited companies cannot do it. We know that, because their number is 50 and they can't do that. Maximum 50 and they can't go to the public. So who can do this? Public limited companies. Okay. Here is the second way in which the companies can raise finances. That means raise money, capital. Okay. This is the second way. What is that second way? Offer for sale. What is that? The company sells its securities to a stockbroker. So what it says is, we want this much of capital. So here are the securities. Securities means it can be shares or debentures. You already know that, right? So here are the shares. Take them. Okay. And what we are telling that stockbroker, as a company, we are telling them, give us the capital, and these shares you can sell them to public. It's your choice. Okay. But right now, as a company, I'm approaching only a stockbroker. I'm not going to the public. In earlier method, what I was doing, I means here company. What I was doing, I was going to the public, asking them to invite by giving a big advertisement and all. But now I'm not going to the public directly. I am approaching a stockbroker saying that we want capital. Here are the shares. Give us the capital. Take these shares. And we are saying, if you want, you can sell them. Okay. Next, private placement. This is very much related to our private limited companies. Okay. So I told you some companies cannot go to public and some companies may not want to go to public. Regarding what? Regarding raising of capital. So what these companies will do, they will approach a few selected individuals saying that, okay, we are starting this company or our company is going for public, for raising of capital. Please provide us the capital. That is what they are going to do. So companies, this happens in private placement. Stepping back again, see what we are talking about. We are talking about methods of issuing new stock. And I said through prospectus, you can raise your new stock, or through offer for sale, you can raise new stock, and private placement. Okay. Rights issue. This is a very simple concept. What happens? I'm a company. I already have shareholders in my company. That means people who have invested in my shares, but I want more capital. Okay. So I'm going for new issue of shares. And when I'm going for new issue of shares, before I ask public or ask selected individuals and all those things, what I will do is I will first ask whoever the shareholders are there already existing in my company. So what I will say is, here are the new shares. If you want to buy them, you buy them. Please provide the capital. So that is what is called as rights issue. So if I am a shareholder, already existing shareholder in company A, I will buy shares if I want to, okay? Or the company will say, okay, if you people don't want to buy, we'll go to the public. That is rights issue. So the first chance is already always given to the existing shareholders. Am I clear? Okay, EIPOs. So yesterday I was mentioning about this. So what the company, when it is going for initial public offer, that means when it is offering the public, okay, what it does is it enters into an agreement with the stock exchange regarding the online trading. Okay, so it says, please provide a facility where we can issue shares online and people can subscribe for it. Okay, that is what is called your EIPOs. Okay, so we are done with our capital markets completely, and now we will move on to the our other aspect of your financial markets. So financial markets, I said, it is categorized into capital markets and money market. And yesterday we have seen this capital markets at length, right? Now we'll be focusing on money markets. Okay. So when I was talking about the capital market, what did we mention? We mentioned that raise of capital and all this. Okay, to acquire your assets and all, you require capital, for which your capital markets are playing a very important role. Okay, the second aspect of our business, the short-term finances. Okay, what are the short-term finances which you require to meet your day-to-day needs of your business? Okay, where it is dealt, how it is dealt, that we will be focused. That means we are focusing on our money market. And you know, yesterday we have seen this slide yesterday also. Okay, so what is this money market categorized into? Organized money market and unorganized money market. Am I clear about this? It's organized and unorganized. Did you come across these words, organized and unorganized, earlier? Anywhere? Do you remember this? Organized and unorganized. So when you are in your 10th class, okay, maybe in social studies you must have come across this, or in your economics you must have come across this. What is the basic difference between organized and unorganized? Organized and unorganized. Say for example, your mom may be saying, hey, you are not organized, man, you look unorganized. What is she trying to do? That means you are not systematic, right? So what is the basic difference, meaning difference between organized and unorganized? So the conceptual difference between organized and unorganized is that when we refer to organized word, it, when we refer to organized word, it means we are following certain rules, restrictions, okay, and we are not going to deviate from them. That is what is called as organized. Unorganized, there are no rules. So the categorization of money market, that means your money market is following unorganized money market. Your money market does not follow the rules. Okay, am I clear? Okay, I'm moving ahead. So what you need to understand is that your money market is both organized and unorganized. Can it exist? Yes. In our Indian financial system, we find this, okay, both type of organized and unorganized money. Before I go to the organized money market, I will talk about unorganized money market, which is simple, okay, and before we further go into unorganized money market and all, let's see what money market we are talking about. Okay, let us make clear about the concept so that we can clearly talk about unorganized and organized money market. Okay, so when I say or when I talk about money markets, what is that we are talking about? We are talking about the credit market. Okay, earlier I told you that we require short-term finances, right? We require short-term to meet our short-term requirement. That means your working capital requirements. Okay. So in your money market, you will look for your short-term finance. Okay. Am I clear about that? Let us see what this money market is all about. Money market is a credit market where short-term debt instruments having high liquidity. What is liquidity? Which is the asset which is having highest liquidity? Now you got the question. So you must be able to think about it. In first year, you must have heard about this. When I say liquidity, we are relating it to cash, right? The next question I asked is, which asset is having highest liquidity? Cash itself. Okay, cash is 100% equal, liquid. Okay, am I clear? So here in this market, the assets which you will be dealing with will be related to assets having highest liquidity. That means those assets which you can convert into cash very quickly. Now I'm giving you an example. I have a building, I have shares. Okay, which one can I convert into cash very quickly? Type your answer. Which asset can I convert into cash very quickly? So time is the constraint here and form is cash. So when it comes to that, selling a building is not easy. It takes time, right? Whereas shares, you can sell them just like that. Online, if you click your button, the price may be fluctuating, but it may not be according to your price, but you can make it into cash very, very quickly. That means your shares have got high liquidity. That means your investment than compared to your buildings. We will go further into liquidity. Say for example, I have stock, goods. Which one do you think can you convert it into cash? Your goods, stock, that is your stock, or your your building or furniture, whatever it is. So again, it is your goods. That means all these come under, you know the category, right? In first year, we have learned about this. What is that? These are all known as current assets, right? Again, just to recollect what these current assets are, which can be converted into cash within 1 year period of time. Okay. Okay. Next, another word which we come across in our understanding of money markets is unsecured. Okay? They are not secure. We cannot say 100% this is going to happen. Okay? They may not. They may, like, say for example, I'm borrowing money. Okay, from somebody, and I'm not giving any guarantee. What do you mean by that? That means the person who has given me that money is not secured, because I'm not guaranteeing anything. And suddenly I may say, I'm not going to give you the money. Or I may say, when did you give the money? So it is unsecured, right? But the risk is low here. Okay, we'll see. We'll see when it comes to when we progress. Okay, we'll see what that is all about. And money markets, mostly they are regulated by your of India, mostly in the sense like they are regulated by Reserve Bank of India or other authorities like NABARD, okay, National Bank for Agricultural Development. So all these authorities, they will be looking into your money market aspects. Okay, they will be the regulating authority. Step back and understand. Okay, money markets, when I'm talking about, we are talking about short-term finance. Okay, we are talking about the market where you will be able to get your short-term finance. Simple. And your RBI will be, Reserve Bank of India will be playing a very important role in regulating these money markets. These are the points which you have to understand very quickly. Okay. And what is the main purpose? Short-term finance I already mentioned. So to meet your cash obligations or obligations which are of short period of time, okay, in order to meet them, you will be into this market. I'm simplifying things from our trade point of view. Say for example, I'm a businessman. Okay. So what I need some money to pay salaries. So what I will do, I'll borrow some money because I don't have money right now. Okay, I'll borrow money. But will it be for a long period of time? No. Okay, I will say, okay, 2 months I'll return this money and I will pay the salaries. What is that I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to make my short-term obligations. Okay. Say another example to make our things clear. Another example I'm giving, business point of view, normal business point of view. Yesterday, in the first session, I was talking about a cloth showroom, right? Where I want to do business and all. So in that, let us say I require stock. Okay. So what material, right? I'm not having money, but what I will do, I'll go to that person, supplier. I will say that I'll give you money later. Please provide me the stock. So that person will give it. And after 3 months max, I guess, okay, we have to pay the money back to that supplier. You cannot say that I'll pay it after 1 year and all. So you have to meet it. You have to meet your obligation very quickly. This is for our basic understanding, okay, of money market. But things will be much higher than these things. We'll see them. Okay. So who are the participants in money market? Who play a role in money markets? That means your short-term financial markets. Your commercial banks will be there, cooperative banks will be there, foreign banks will be there. Okay. Government will be playing an important role in money markets. Large financial institutions, LIC, GIC, IFCI, all those things which you have studied in your first year finance subject, okay, you remember them, recollect them. All such type of large financial institutions will be playing a very important role in money market. Okay. So when I already talked about the classification of money market. I said money market is classified into organized money market and unorganized money market. Okay. First, let us finish off with our unorganized money market, so that we can come to our organized money market. Okay. Are you all with me? Am I clear? Today, in this session, we are focusing on money market. That means we are focusing on learning about short-term finances, okay, and related market. And we have seen the participants in that. Who are they? Your banks, financial institutions, government, and all will be part of our money market. And okay, we know that our money market is classified into two. What are they? They are your organized money market and unorganized money market. First, we will focus on unorganized money market, as this is very easy and you people will understand. You will enjoy like anything this topic. Okay, very simple. We'll take few minutes over here. Unorganized money market, I already told you what is it all about. There is no rule and it is not regulated by any specific authority. Okay, so nobody is regulating this type of market. Examples: indigenous bankers and money lenders. Before we go into the indigenous bankers, money lenders example, their differences and all, let's first try to understand how money lenders are forming part of your unorganized money market. Okay. Say for example, if I'm borrowing money, okay, from a bank, how much interest do you think that the bank may charge on my personal loan? This is our individual point of view. I need money, okay, so I'm going to a bank saying that I need money for my personal purpose. Can you give me some money? Bank is fine with my credentials. It is saying, oh sir, we are very much excited to give you money, loan you money. Okay, here is the personal loan, take 5 lakhs. Then I'm asking them how much will be the interest on it. Okay, so they are saying, sir, it is 13%. Okay, 13%, 13%. I immediately said, another bank is offering me the same personal loan, but it is giving me at 11%. Okay, okay, sir, we will also give it for 11%. I'm going to another person. Okay, now it is not the bank. I'm going to a normal person. I'm saying that, okay, I need money. Okay, then that person is saying that, okay, I'll give you money, but you have to pay me 20%. I am shocked, right? The banks which said like 13%, they cannot go beyond that, because the Reserve Bank says whatever the loans you are extending, it should be within the scope of a certain percentage of interest. That means there are rules guiding the loans. But when I went to a money lender, he simply says, give me 20%. And most importantly, did you hear about the 2 rupees interest? That means for 100 it is 2 rupees per month. That means it comes to 24% per year per annum. You can imagine. Okay, that money lender, what does he simply say? If you want to take it, or forget about it. Okay, so based on your need, you will go for. That means your money lender is not restricted or not under the control of any authority. If he wants to give it, he will give it. And if you want to take it, you will take it. And the interest which he will be charging will be very high. Okay. And if you really question that interest, he says, okay, forget it, go off, man, forget it. He won't give you money. Am I clear? Clear? Okay. Now coming to the other term, indigenous bankers. Indigenous bankers, they are the native people, like native people in the sense, right from good olden days, these people are into banking activities. You know what a bank does, right? They lend money, they accept deposits. Okay, money lender is not accepting deposits from you, that you have to remember. But indigenous bankers, they are accepting deposits. Okay, and they will lend you money. Got it? Money lenders, we are very clear. When we talk about indigenous bankers, these are the private people who act like a bank in sense, that means they accept deposits and lend money. Okay, and these people are not the regulated or real banks, but because of their activities, from occupational activities from good olden days, they are acting like bankers, like our Marwari bankers we have. Okay, still that is existing in Gujarat and other places. That is one of the examples. Let us see what is the difference between these two. And where are we talking about all these things? We are talking about all these things in our unorganized money market. Am I clear? In unorganized money market, we are discussing about indigenous bankers and money lenders. Let us see what is the difference between these two. Okay, when we talk about finance, money lenders, why do they lend money? Normally, money lenders give money for your personal purpose. Hey, I am having a function at my home. I need 10,000 rupees. So I'm going to a money lender. He says me certain amount of interest, okay, or certain percentage of interest, and I'm getting the 10,000 rupees, using it for my function in my at my home. Okay, so or I'm planning to buy a vehicle or something. So nobody is there to give me loan. So I'm going to a money lender saying that I want to loan. Okay. So it's all for my personal consumption. Okay, it can be for a marriage, a function, a different function at home, or some other thing. Okay, it can be anything, personal purpose, and it is mostly consumed, right, for your purpose. So money lenders focus on that category. Whereas when we talk about indigenous bankers, they will be they will be lending money. I said they will be accepting money and they will be lending money also. Okay. So what they will be lending, to whom they will be lending? They will be lending to business people. They take an active role in in trade and commerce. That means some business people are there. They needed money. Instead of going to a bank, they may go to an indigenous banker saying that I'm into cloth business. Why don't you lend me some money? I need money for my business purpose. So that indigenous banker may give you a loan, okay, to that person. Give you a loan in the sense to the business person. Am I clear? Am I clear? So your indigenous bankers, they are well into your trade and commerce. Okay, instead of going to a bank, you are going to a indigenous bank. That you have to understand. Okay, and coming to the rate of interest, when we talk about rate of interest, money lenders, they charge you high. Okay, very high. I told you 24% concept. They will be very high. Interest rates will be very high. Okay, whereas money lenders, they won't be charging that much of interest. Indigenous money lenders, indigenous bankers, they won't be charging that much of interest. Okay, but when compared to bank, it may be high. Okay, when compared to a bank, the loan which you are taking may have high interest. Clear, right? And when it comes to the security, money lender may not ask for any security. Security in the sense, he may not say that you give me your gold chain, then I will give money and all those things. If you are pledging your gold chain, then what is the need of going to a money lender? You can go to a bank, right? But how this money lender is giving you money? Because you are known to him. Okay, based on that he is giving. And he is not really looking for any security. But he may look for a security in his own way. What is that way? He may think that, okay, I'm giving it to RR, is he in a position to pay it? That calculations he may do. Okay, but in reality, in real sense, he may not look for a complete security, okay, of whatever the money he is lending. Whereas as far as indigenous bankers are concerned, they would definitely ask for security. That means they'll be looking for, if I give you this much of money as loan to your business, what is the guarantee, or how you are going to return this loan amount to us? That is what indigenous bankers will ask. But they may not be that rigid of a bank. Okay, am I clear? And are there any rules which these people will be following, indigenous bankers and money lenders? No, they are at their discretion. Okay, they follow their own rules. That we have to understand as far as unorganized money market is concerned. Okay. Organized money market. So when it comes to organized money market, here the concept is related to your short-term finances. Okay, what happens is your banks, government, and other large institutions, what do? They sell short-term securities. Am I clear? Short-term securities. They are not shares which we have talked about in capital market. They are not about debentures which we have talked about in capital market. Okay, these are all short-term. What they are, we will be seeing as we progress in our class. Okay, but right now understand that they will be involved in short-term security. Okay, and what is this all about? Like, why we are talking about organized money market or money market? We want to meet our short-term obligations. For that, you are looking for your finances. Where do you get and all those things, right? Okay. The next question that comes to my mind is, okay, you said government, banks, other financial institutions, and all these people, they participate in money market. And you said they require short-term finance. Who really are the participants, and why are they? What is the need that they have so that they are participating in money market? Okay, it is the need and the participant. Okay, say for example, government is there. The question that comes to our mind is, government, man, it has all the money, then why it is looking for loans, or why it is looking for short-term finance? Okay, the answer is, don't think that government coffers will be full every time. Okay, so the government may not be having the money all the time to pay certain things, because what it does, it follows the deficit financing, right? Sometimes, so it doesn't have all the money, but it needs money. Okay, so in order to meet that money requirement, what it does, it borrows money. From where? From a money market. Okay, and when it is going to return it, it is going to return it very quickly within 1 year period of time. Am I clear? Government may not have. I'll make more clear with a small example. Say for example, a known person of you is into contract business. Okay, like he is doing contract in constructing roads. Okay, developing roads and all. So he has laid a road. Okay, and he submits those bills to the government. If you are asking that person, hey, did you get your money? Now you are a contractor, you have laid a road, you must be having lots of money with you, right? That is what you are asking him. But he says, no, my government did not give me the money yet, because the government did not have the money. Okay, what it means is that the government is short of paying that bill. Am I clear? But if the term is approaching very quickly, what the government will do is, it will raise money in the form of a bill, and he will give it to the contractor. Okay, so short-term finance, a government is always in need. Okay, that you need to understand. Firms, you already know, companies and other organizations, why do they require short-term finance? To meet their working capital needs. Working capital needs, you already know, to make your business run, to pay your stock, okay, to pay your staff. All these purposes you require working capital. You may not have immediate cash with you. And remember the point that your short term or money finance or money markets, what they deal with, money markets, what they deal with, your assets having highest liquidity. Okay, and here is the other point, nice point we have. Banks, they have to maintain a cash reserve. What do you mean by that? The Reserve Bank of India from time to time makes announcements or regulations saying that the banks have to maintain a certain amount of cash. Okay, say for example, layman example I'm telling. So for example, A bank is there, and the government and the Reserve Bank of India is saying that all the banks should maintain 2 crores of cash. Okay, That means they have to have 2 crores of cash. Let us imagine A bank is there, which has got only 1 crore cash. It is in organized money market. Okay, it's in organized market. And it has to follow the Reserve Bank of India regulations. So what it has to do, it has to get what? Another 1 crore. Why? Because the Reserve Bank said that you have to maintain 2 crores. You means the banks. Okay, since A bank is having only 1 crore, now in order to maintain 2 crores, what it is doing? It is borrowing that 1 crore. How long? It will be for very short period of time, till the Reserve Bank says, okay, now you are fine, you can have your only 1 crore. Till that point of time, that the banks have to maintain. So it borrows the money. That means you understood the concept now, right? In order to maintain the cash reserve ratio, okay, in order to maintain the cash reserve ratio, banks need money, finance. So they become part of your money markets. Okay. Now let us see what are the functions of money market. Already we have an understanding of what a money market is all about, what it is doing and all. So what it is doing, money market, what is the first function? Okay, it acts as an equilibrium. Equilibrium of what? Short-term funds. That means your cash. Okay. How? I told you, I gave you an example of A bank. Okay, A bank is in need of money, 1 crore. So where it is borrowing? It is borrowing from B bank. Okay. So it is getting that 1 crore. All this is happening in where? Money market. So what is that? What is happening here? There is a balance between your demand and supply. A bank is in need of money, whereas B bank is ready to lend money. So where it is happening, all these things in money market. There is a balance that is taking place. So money markets have maintaining the equilibrium between the demand and supply of short-term funds. Am I clear about that? Simple, right? Very simple. Somebody is in need of money, somebody has surplus money. So in between, this money market is playing the role to transfer the money from the surplus point to where there is deficit, right? Clear. When it came to the cash reserve ratio, I was very much tempted about talking this point. Okay, what is it? If money markets are the focal point where you can really know what the liquidity of your country is. Okay, liquidity, we already know the meaning. What is that? Nearness to cash. Okay, so what is the point which we are talking about here is, if the government or the central bank or the Reserve Bank thinks that there should not be too much of supply of cash in the country. Am I clear? They are thinking that there should not be too much of cash supply in the country. Why do you think that they may be thinking that way? They want to control the supply of cash. They want to control the availability of cash. I'm not going deep, but just to mention why you want to control the availability of cash, because of inflation. You are paying too much for certain things, so you want to control the cash. That is a basic thing which I'm talking. I'm not going deep into that aspect. Okay, so you wanted to control cash. What Reserve Bank immediately says? It says all the banks ensure that you are maintaining more of cash. So earlier I gave you an example of A bank, where I said A bank is maintaining 1 crore, but now it has increased to 2 crores, so it is borrowing. Now let us imagine the Reserve Bank of India wants to control more of liquid. Okay, that means more of your cash supply. It will say from 1 crore to 3 crores. Okay, layman example I'm giving. So all the banks will have to maintain 3 crores of cash. Once cash is going into the bank and it is staying over there, what happens to the liquidity in the economy? What happens to the supply of cash? It gets reduced. It will not be available for your loans. It will not be available for other things. Cash will be with the banks only. That is how we are going to control your cash. Simple aspect, right? it provides reasonable access to, so whoever is having borrowing requirement, like whoever needs money, okay, so there it is going to fill the gap, the providers and the borrowers. And it deals with short-term credit. I already told you that money market is not about shares, debentures and all. It is about some other thing, which is where those instruments are near to cash, right? I talked about that. We will see in detail about all these things, okay, as we progress. And it provides short-term credit for business. I already talked about the supplier, okay, who is uh, giving scope for the purchaser, saying that after 3 months you pay for the material. That means he is making the credit available, which we call it as trade credit. Anyway, in the first year we have learned about trade credit, right? Or you are borrowing money, saying that I'll be paying you, means business, okay, business is borrowing money, saying that after 2 months or 3 months they'll be paying back to meet their working capital needs. All this availability happens in money market. It comes under the scope of your money market and functioning of money market. Am I clear? Okay. So till now I was keeping you in suspense related to the instruments which actually are there in money markets. Whereas capital markets, we are very clear. We have shares, we have debentures and all those things. But money market instruments, I'm keeping them in a suspense till now. I said as we progress, we will learn about them. So here are the instruments, okay, which money market deals with. Okay, and we know money market is very much controlled by our central bank, Reserve Bank of India. So what are those instruments? As a student, you need to immediately pick up. What is that? In capital market, we talked about shares, debentures, which the company issues, and how the company raises the capital and all. That is for our long-term finance. Now we have to switch over to the money market regarding the short-term finance. So what are the instruments available that will be traded in money markets? Treasury bills. Any guess about the meaning of treasury? We come across this word, especially when the assembly session is okay in both. Can anyone guess? Just type the answer very quickly for me. What is the meaning of treasury bench at least? Okay, treasury bench. Okay, just type it for me. And we have got commercial papers. We have got commercial paper. We will be dealing with these things in detail. We have got call money. We have got certificate of deposits, commercial bills. And what are all these things? These are all your money market instruments. Okay, in your money market, these are the things which will be traded. Now the answer for the first one, treasury bills, right? I asked you, did you guess it? Yes, it is related to the government. When we say in assembly session that these are the treasury benches, that means it is the people who are in the government that will be sitting on those benches, right? That means we are talking about the government. So here when I say treasury bills, who is issuing these bills? Don't worry too much about the meaning of bills and all. It's like an acknowledgement. Say for example, I'm going to a shop, I'm buying a pen, and if I'm asking for a bill, what you will say? Okay, pen 10 rupees, you will give a bill. Okay, that is for layman understanding. Here it is a bill which is issued by the government. Bill in the sense it is a form of agreements and all those things. In detail it will be there. Who is issuing it? These treasury bills? Reserve Bank of India on behalf of the central government, and other governments also can participate. Okay, why are they issuing these bills? Because I already told you that the government may be in need of money. So in order to get the money, what it does, it issues a bill. What is that bill called? As treasury bill. Say for example, if the government wants 10 lakh rupees, okay, so it issues a treasury bill for 10 lakhs. If obviously we may not be in a position to buy it because the amounts will be very high. Say for example, if I want to buy that bill, the government will say, okay, pay 9 lakhs 75,000. What is the actual treasury bill value? Okay, it is 10 lakhs. But what am I paying the government? I'm paying 9 lakhs 75,000. Okay, and it says let us say after 3 months you give this, you bring the bill and we will give the money. So now I'm giving the money to the government, okay, and the government is giving me a treasury bill. After 3 months, I'm going back, I'm giving it. How much money actually I gave to the government? 9,75,000. How much the government is giving me back now? 10 lakhs. That means the bill is issued at a discount, but has been repaid on par. On par means on the face value, that is 10 lakhs. Am I clear about that? And that normally the rate of return is very low, but these are highly secure because the government is giving the guarantee. Who else can give a better security than the government? If the government fails, that's it, our economy is gone, right? So it is very secure. That means whatever the money I gave is very much secured and I will get the money back. I can happily sleep. But the point is here, it is not the individuals, but large financial institutions will be playing a major role. And these treasury bills, they can be a fresh, new one, or somebody may be already having this bill and other people may be trading in it. So it is both in primary market and secondary market. And for what duration these bills are issued, okay, it is for 91 days, 182 days, 364 days, and all. To understand this, what is that I'm saying? I gave the government money now, okay. After 91 days, the government will give back the money. What is the advantage I'm getting? When I'm giving money, I gave less money. I didn't give the 10 lakhs. I gave 9,75,000. But the government is giving me 10 lakhs. That means that 25,000 is the advantage or return I'm having when I'm buying those treasury bills. Am I clear? So minimum amount says it will be in the denomination of rupees 25,000. That means I can't. Shares, I told you the denomination will be like it will be divided into small units and all, okay, 100 rupees and all. But as far as treasury bills is concerned, those bills will be of high denomination, 25,000 and multiples of 25,000. Okay, am I clear? Normally, who participates in this type of market and who will be buying these treasury bills? It will be the banks, financial institutions, and corporations. Am I clear? Am I clear? Government wants money, it issues bills. People like banks, financial institutions, or corporations, they buy at a discounted prices, okay, and they will get that advantage, discount advantage. Am I clear? This is one type of money market instrument that we have to understand. Now coming to commercial paper, okay, who can issue this commercial paper? Only companies. Which companies? Credit-worthy companies. That means your credit rating agencies should say that these companies are doing good for the last 3 years or 4 years. They have to give the rating. Only such type of companies can give this commercial paper. Okay, and what value they can give? Just like your treasury bills, here the commercial papers are being issued by the companies, not the government. You have to come out of it. It is the companies which are issuing it. And you may be asking why the companies want to issue a commercial paper. Okay, they want to issue a commercial paper because they are not having immediate cash. So what they are saying is, here is the acknowledgement which we are giving. So give us 1 lakh. Okay, so let us say 1 lakh. Okay, for that they are asking us to give us only 90,000, and we will give you 1 lakh when we give it after 2 months or 3 months. Returns will be high as far as companies are concerned, but they are not secured because they are not government, right? They are less secured. If the company runs into losses, it is gone. Your commercial papers are gone. So if I am lending money to a company, let us say I'm thinking that okay, 90,000 I'm giving now. After 3 months, the company will give me 1 lakh. So I'll get a benefit of 10,000, and I'm very excited. I gave it, but within 1 month, the company went into doldrums. Let us imagine that. Okay, then who's going to pay me that money? It's highly risky. Returns are high, but it is less secure, and it can be traded. And normally, what is the time duration which the companies issues commercial papers? It will be from 1 to 270 days. Okay, am I clear? Companies want short-term money, immediate money, so they don't have the cash. They are going for issue of commercial papers. And which companies can do that? Only companies which are credit worthy. That means companies which are doing strong. And the next interesting thing is your call money. Okay. Now, earlier I gave you an example of A bank and B bank. I said A bank has wants 1 crore. So what it does, it goes to another bank, B bank. Okay. And what it says, come on, Reserve Bank of India has asked me to maintain 2 crores. So I'm having only 1 crore. Please give me another 1 crore as loan. Okay. So one bank is approaching the other bank. That money which the A bank is borrowing from B bank, we call it as call money. Am I clear? And why you are borrowing that money? Because A bank has to maintain that cash. Okay, because RBI has asked to maintain that. So in order to meet the cash requirements, cash reserve requirements, we are doing that. Am I clear? Okay. And this duration, okay, for how long can you borrow? You cannot borrow it for days and days and days. You can borrow it only for up to 14 days. And you may be thinking that, sir, can't they borrow more money for more number of days? Is it only for 14 days, 1 to 14 days? They can borrow, but that becomes a term loan. Okay, they have to say that we will repay it in 1 year, 2 years, like that. And loan. Okay, am I clear? This we are talking about money market, short term. Okay, within less than 1 year, and on notice it is 1 to 14 days. So on the second day, if the B bank thinks that it wants the money back, it can issue a notice and it can get it. Okay, and the rate at which the B bank lends money to A bank, we call it as call rate. That means the rate at which a bank lends cash to the other bank, we call it as call rate. Call rate. All these are important for our exam point of view, 2 marks questions. Okay, and so many, we have got so many things in our first chapter. You have to be very thorough with. Okay, all these are 5 marks questions, and we have got 10 marks questions, like what are the functions of capital market, money market, and all. 5 marks questions like what is the difference between primary market, secondary market, and we have got different money market instruments. All these things you have to be very thorough with. Okay, now comes our certificate of deposit. Okay, early deposits, when we talk about deposits, we normally think that it is the banks only who can give, who can accept deposits. Okay, but even your corporates, your companies can also, okay, do that. Okay, who normally does this certificate of deposit? Commercial banks, and they will be giving an interest on the face value. When do they require it? When their cash reserves go down, they may go for this. Okay, am I clear? So they will accept deposits, they will give you a certificate, and on that they will be giving you a rate of interest. Okay, and normally the term would be for 3 months. Am I clear on this? Last, which we are already familiar with, is the commercial bills. In our first year subsidiary books, we have learned about this bills receivable, bills payable books. Okay, so here is the here is how we have to understand. A person is there. Okay, he is selling goods to B. A is selling goods to B. B is buying them, and he is saying that, okay, I don't have money. I will pay you after 3 months or some certain period of time. Then what A is doing? Okay, accept this bill. You sign it, acknowledging your debt. Okay, so B is signing it. Then it becomes bills receivable for A and bills payable for B. Okay, and what A can do with this bill, he can go to a bank saying that here is the bill which B has accepted. Please take this and give me cash. That means you are discounting it with a bank. Am I clear? So in order to generate cash, your commercial bill also will be very helpful. This is also another type of money market instrument. Okay, this is a pro forma for commercial bill. And distinction between your money market and capital markets, if you look at, and we know that money markets, they are related to short-term credits, and who are the players, like your banks, RBI, all the financial institutions. Okay, in capital market, we know merchant bankers, financial institutions, all these people play a major role. And as far as credit instruments are concerned, we know in money markets, it's related to treasury bills, commercial papers, call money. Okay, all these things we have discussed. That is the reason why I'm just going through this. Am I clear? So we have summarized all the money market concepts. Okay, classification of money market, what is the functions of money market, all those things. I hope we did we meet our learning objectives? Yes, we learned about these money markets and capital markets in detail. Now you should not be having any questions or doubts. Okay, if you still have questions, you can ask me. So we'll end up this session here. Okay, I'm very happy that you guys are following this very carefully, and this is very important. So many marks, like in the first chapter, financial markets, your question paper will be full with 10 marks question, 5 marks question, and 2 marks question. So don't ignore this topic. Okay, am I clear? That's it. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for delivering the wonderful session. I hope you students enjoy the session. Thank you, students and viewers. Thanks to all.
Thank you, sir.